Vicki Hogarth, and welcome to Southwest Magazine. My guests today are Staff Sergeant Jeffrey Peters and Sergeant Pierre Ladouceur from the RCMP. Thank you both for coming in once again today for a regular sit-down.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
We have to discuss first, before we kick things off, the retirement of Scott McKenzie, a longtime face in Charlotte County. I understand he's not leaving, but how does it feel to be losing one of your longtime colleagues?
Just to put it bluntly, it's a huge loss. Pierre's stepped into the role. He's been in the role now for a couple of months, but as we're seeing, you've got over 32 years of policing in Charlotte County, and that local knowledge and connections, going out the door. So it's big. He's had a fantastic career here and made a lot of impact in the community. So we're sad to see him go. We're very happy, obviously, for him to begin to enjoy his retirement. But it's a big adjustment.
And Pierre, how does it feel for you to be?
For me, it's a new position, but I'm walking in big shoes. So I was lucky enough to beneficiate from having Scott around for a few weeks before he actually officially retires. So it's always good to have all this corporate knowledge and show me the ropes, right? So knowing the area, coming from another area, so that was definitely beneficial. But like Geoff said, when you see a guy leaving with over 32 years of service, it's a lot of knowledge that leaves the office.
And tell us a little bit, Pierre, you will be a familiar face very soon that people get used to seeing around Charlotte County. Tell us a little bit about where you're coming here from and what your experience of Charlotte County has been so far.
Experience is great. I have 19 years of service. So I came from Rishabukto Southeast District office before I got here. Really happy to be here. And my experience in Charlotte County now, it's been almost 2 months. And I've learned a lot, trying to reach out all the external partners so I can establish those relationships and rely on Scott to be able to lead me the way to how the detachment was going around. So now I'm really appreciating it and loving the experience. Places have been terrific for me. They've been great, and I was welcomed awesomely. And I'm lucky enough that we have teams that are workers and working hard in that community policing aspect and make sure they're working for the community. Really happy to be here.
And for anyone doing Duolingo at home, Sergeant Ladouceur can be a great tool for us as well, right? Staff Sergeant Peters.
You did say our next episode is going to be bilingual, correct? That's
the next
led
show.
By you? Yes.
Exactly. Okay. I think we actually might need Pierre to take the lead on that one, but I will try my best. One of the things I remember this past summer, now that we're well into fall, though, is Scott McKenzie in the Canada Day parade here in St. Andrews. He wanted to walk in it one last time in his red uniform. And I think that's a big thing for people to understand in our part of the world, is how much your jobs change in the summer. It's not just the events, the festivals that you have to get yourselves to just to make sure everything runs smoothly and safely, but there's also this huge increase in population just because we are a high tourism zone in the summer. How does your job change and in those summer months, and how do you transition into fall?
It doesn't. I wouldn't say it has a huge impact on our calls for service. We generally, the types of complaints we see, specifically in St. Andrews with the large influx of tourists, more traffic complaints and minor fender benders and things. But overall, other than the congestion and the traffic issues that causes, we don't see a whole lot of the type of people that are coming in are usually not increasing our calls for service. But as you said, there's a strain on our resources trying to accommodate community requests for whether it's parades or events. And I think over the summer, looking back, we had a pretty good success rate at doing that. We had a lot of involvement in things from Canada Day, the Sandcastle Festival down in New River, the Fundy Shores Community Days, and back in May in Paddlefest here in St. Andrews. So we're as we were discussing before, that as long as we get notice ahead of time, we can usually accommodate those. So we've put that out to our community partners that if you have something you would like one of us to attend, just give us sufficient notice, and we can usually accommodate.
I know that a lot of the different festival organizers are so appreciative of not just being there, but often just being a part of it too, sometimes even being in the parades themselves, because you truly are that part of the community that we get to know. Pierre, just wait for it. It's coming.
Yes.
When we look back to it at some of the highlights from crime reduction over the summer, what are some key things worth noting for the community that really went into making it a safer place?
We so I say this frequently, but I can't overstate it enough that we've got some officers that are our team that are just working really hard at proactive police work, and we try to highlight that with media releases, and I think we're doing a pretty good job of that. But specifically over the last couple of months, we've had a number of some significant drug seizures, and these are based solely off hard work of our police officers. So doing proactive traffic work. I often say that the traffic enforcement is kind of the bread and butter of policing. So it gives us that ability to stop a vehicle for a traffic infraction, which we're doing as part of our road safety initiative, but also certain vehicles in certain places that why is this vehicle at this location at 3 o'clock in the morning? I'll give you an example. We had an officer down in the Pokalogan area back in April that just out on patrol noticed a U-Haul truck down on the McCarthy's Point Road at a time of night when generally people aren't going to be out moving. So attempted a traffic stop on the vehicle. The vehicle almost struck the officer. Thankfully, he wasn't injured, and we initiated a pursuit because of that. And anyway, at the end of it, we ended up taking the fellow into custody, and he was when you identified him, he's a prolific property crime offender from the Hampton, Sussex area. So that's a good example of our proactive work, just something that seems out of place, and then probably prevented a number of break and enters that night in that area. So it's the same with our drug work that we've done, and Pierre's done a good job of making sure those get pushed out to our media. But again, just stopping vehicles that are in certain places at certain times, and ending up with some drug seizures through good police work.
Wow. And are there any, I know this may sound like a weird question, but drug trends in the community, things you're noticing from these seizures, maybe certain types of drugs coming into the community?
There seems to be an increase in a certain type of fentanyl right now, and specifically the potency of it. I can't speak exactly what it makes it different from previous strains, but we are seeing an increase in the amount of overdose calls that we have to attend with EMS, and obviously methamphetamine is still a preferred drug of choice in the area.
Okay. And when it comes to dangerous driving, it's something we hear a lot about, and I know that the rural element of where we are, it's hard to be everywhere all at once, especially if you're in another corner and you get a call somewhere else. What should people do, though, if they are a witness to dangerous driving, maybe if they're able to see a license plate? What's the right approach to reporting it? Pierre, I'll let you.
Sure, no, definitely the best way to do it is call, report it, go through our dispatch, and if there's an officer that's available, they will definitely be dispatched to that call. And but yeah, for sure, if you see it, don't follow it, because if you do follow, you may put yourself at risk, and if you have your family with you, it doesn't worth it. So make sure you have a report of a license plate, vehicle type, make and model, and the direction of travel is very important. And the second thing I'd say is attempt to identify the driver if you can. If you can't, don't drive erratically to get that information. But at least if you can look for him or her and identify the driver, that will be definitely an asset for the member to investigate that. But consider that if you do report it and you want something to be done charge-wise, you'll need to participate into that and provide a statement in order for us to go and ticket that driver.
Okay, and we often hear a lot of reports about ATV incidents. Why do we tend to hear so much about ATVs and accidents? What do you think are the real underlying issues?
It's just you have a very small percentage of ATV operators, and I'm including ATVs, dirt bikes, side-by-sides kind of in that mix, but very small percent of users that are giving black eyes to the mostly law-abiding people that are using them in Charlotte County. And specifically, we've had quite a problem, and I'm sure people that live in the St. Stephen area will agree with me. King Street, Milltown Boulevard, through the high school, Old Ridge on the 4-lane highway. So we saw a sharp increase in that behavior. And again, it all boils down to safety and trying to prevent people from being injured or killed. And specifically, we're seeing a high percentage of young people, students, doing it as well, which is unfortunate. So we're trying to take some enforcement action to prevent this. That's our only goal. We've had somewhat positive feedback, and we've also had negative feedback from people. And the negative feedback is, well, you're bothering children. Don't you have anything better to do? Well, we're trying to stop them from being injured or killed, and just have good habits when they're riding. We're not trying to stop them from riding their ATVs. We're just trying to instill in them some safe habits and safe driving behavior. So, as everybody knows, it's no secret we don't chase these bikes. It's not safe for the person on the bike. It's not safe for the general public. So we're looking at alternative methods to try to deal with this. And specifically with kids, we're trying to do it through an educational process. And that's all it is. So we know it's an ongoing problem. We're not going to stop it completely, but we're just basically trying to encourage people to do what they're doing in a safe manner in a location where those vehicles belong.
And I know that you take a really proactive approach to talking to youth. I know an officer is assigned to each school in Charlotte County. Talk a little bit about what you're doing to be familiar faces to young people, and also to educate them as well on everything from traffic safety to crime prevention.
We have a really good program. Our community policing officer, Lisa Williams, she kind of spearheads and coordinates these things throughout the district. So we have an officer each school from elementary to high school throughout the county. We have an officer assigned to that school. So the goal of that is for them to be present in the school, for the administration to know who their contact person is. So when there's events like lockdowns and things like that, that they have that relationship built. And we're also, and we contact the schools regularly ourselves. Is there any presentations or discussions we can have with kids? So one of the biggest things we're seeing right now in terms of files, and it's it's a nationwide issue. It's not just here, but is the sextortion issues, and it's extremely dangerous. The outcome of that, you see kids that have resorted to suicide when things like that happen. So basically, what it is they're talking with somebody online through some app or a platform. And they get conned into sending an intimate photo of themselves to somebody, thinking it's somebody around their age, and then it turns out to be not that person, and then they get extorted for money or whatnot, basically blackmailed into. So it's those are the types of things that we're trying to get in and talk to kids about primarily, and then obviously things like ATV safety and general online safety, things like that.
I know Scott came in for Scott McKenzie did a look back at his career when he was approaching retirement, and that was one thing we talked about. What's changed in the world since when you started till now? And that was a big thing he talked about, was this online portion of scams, crimes that happen on the internet that back when he started wasn't even a thing. Pierre, in your career, how much has online crime taken up in terms of what you're looking into and what people are falling victim to these days? Yeah,
for me, like, I have 19 years in now, and same thing for me. 19 years ago, like, online crimes was not as they are now, and same thing, we're looking now at the crypto money. We're looking at frauds that are done this way, like kids. We need to educate these kids that those are out there, because they're so used to that social platform, social media life. Sometimes they don't evaluate or assess the risk as they are. So as a dad of 5 kids, that's my daily life as a dad, to do that education. And for sure at home it takes a huge part, but the internet component of crime is definitely something all new to us, and we're just adapting. So the newer members that come in is something they're more comfortable with. But for us, like, we're just doing that trend and getting there. But all this, social work, social network changed the entire career for me.
And I know you were visiting a school right before coming here. What has that experience been like for you, getting to know the community on that level?
Oh, I love it. Like, this is, for me, the school access and all this relationship for me, and partnerships. For me, it's my forte. That's what I like the most, to build those relationships with the schools and go see the kids. And it's funny how the speech from every single kid was different. Why, I hope you're not here to arrest me. And I'm like, high five, bud. We're just having fun. Have a good day, buddy. So yeah, so that part of me, like being a dad of 5 kids, it's into me. So I enjoy it. It was very, very fun.
Oh, wow. There are 5 kids, all different. Like, what's the age range?
The oldest is 16, and the youngest is 7.
Wow. So you are very busy both at
Yeah.
work and at
Oh
home.
yeah, I'm a busy man.
So I have to ask, if you were at the school, did you talk about the body-worn cameras with the school kids? And can you walk us through how they work?
For sure. So we haven't specifically talked to the kids about them, but I have throughout our council meetings we've been trying to get discussion out about them. So they've been rolled out now across the province. I'm not sure about I know the rest of the country's if not now, they will be probably by the end of the year. We've had them now for I think 6 or 8 months. Macadam and Ramanand Detachments were the last 2 to get them, just because of some of the infrastructure issues we had with getting those buildings wired. But basically, they're just a little portable unit. They're if you're on YouTube, they're the same ones that a lot of the American police agencies use. Their company's called Axon that makes them. So our policy is available to the public online to see how the policy works, because obviously there's a lot of concerns about privacy. So when the green light's flashing, just so everybody knows, that means it's ready. It's not on. So I've gone into Subway in St. Stephen and had somebody say, "I don't want you recording me." I'm like, "I'm not recording you. It's so if we attend a call, our policy says you turn it on, so it records audio and video. It does have a 30-second buffer that it's always buffering the video. So if I pressed it now, it would capture the previous 30 seconds of video, which is great in policing. So if you just stumble across something, what led me to turn it on? So it would capture the previous 30 seconds of video. The system itself is fantastic to use. It's a digital evidence management system, and it's made by Axon. So when we go back to the office, the battery works for basically about a shift. You plug it into a docking station. It downloads all of your videos. If you were going to a call, it automatically assigns the file number to the video. And if you're not, say if you have a traffic stop, something you're doing on your own, then all you have to do is go in and put your file number associated to it. But the system itself is fantastic. We've already begun using it. So there's a portion of it called the community evidence request. And it's made our lives a lot easier for investigation. So what we can do, so if you have a break and enter at your house and you have video, which lots of people do, before we'd have to run around back and forth and say, "Can you get me a USB stick? Can you get me a DVD with the footage?" And then you're trying to decode it. And so now I just send you a blind link with a similar to uploading a document anywhere else. You just click on it, upload the document, and it submits it back into the system, and with that file number attached. So when we go in to see all the evidence associated to a file, whether it's this, audio statements, photos that we take on scene, or evidence that a person submits, it's all right there. So it makes it very easy for court disclosure and things like that.
And have you seen this help already in local cases?
Oh, definitely. And as supervisors, part of our job every day is to go in and review the files from the past 24 hours. So we've had files where there's been a use of force during an arrest. And for us as a supervisor, we can immediately go in and review that and make sure it's up to policy. So it's also, everything's disclosed in court as well. So it's helping us that way. But nationally we've seen a drop in our public complaints because of these, because it's capturing what's happening, so it's great. It's keeping us accountable, which is what we're supposed to be doing anyway. So it's yeah.
As you look ahead to priorities for 2025, 2026, what are they for the year ahead, and what are the biggest challenges?
Our policing priorities, we establish those with our community partners every year, so that basically is the representatives from RC10, which the mayors and councillors from across the district, and we have a process where we set those policing priorities. So they generally don't change from too much one year to the next, and we try to keep them manageable. So we've got community engagement and police visibility is a big one, obviously. Crime prevention, that includes drug crimes, and our third one is road safety and increasing our presence, traffic enforcement. So those don't change one year to the next. So those are the things that we're focusing our time on when we have in our daily work when we have some time to do things. So that's why, you'll see our officers out, doing traffic work during the day, crime prevention at night, doing curfew checks on people, executing warrants and things like that. So again, they don't change much from one year to the next, but that's, yeah.
In terms of police visibility, this is why I love this show. You come in regularly so people at home can hear from you in long format here. They can also reach us at news@chco.tv by email if they'd like to send questions that we can bring up. It means a lot to us to have you come in and talk so candidly with our audience. And I know they appreciate seeing out in public as well, but this is a great opportunity to just hear directly from you. I know that you got off out of the hot seat for the priorities, but next year, Pierre, you're going to take the lead on that one. What have been the challenges thus far, though? What have you learned about the Charlotte County scene in your first time on the job?
Yeah, for me right now is to establish and know all the services local and all the partners that are available, because usually police work is built with partnerships, right? The new way of policing is reach out to the partnerships so we can send the people to the right spot. So we can look at the mental health and addictions now, like we're talking about drug seizures. So all these partners are essential in our work. So if we can operate collaboratively, so for me it's to establish those partnerships, to know my surrounding, to know what the partnership I can rely on, what's the resources out there. So that's where I'm working on to improve my knowledge of local known resources. So that's my biggest challenge at this point, for sure.
Are there any challenges that are specific to one area that stand out a bit more? Does data point to, let's say, an issue in St. Stephen that might not be as prevalent in St. Andrews or St. George?
Definitely in St. Stephen, I don't think it's a shock to anybody, but the homeless population and the associated files that come with that, whether they're social related or crime related, they do take a good chunk of our resources. I don't think it's a shock to anybody. And then obviously, it's no different from anywhere else in New Brunswick or the country for that matter, but the challenges of rural policing, response times to remote areas, and the frustration of people in rural areas that, hey, we don't see the police enough, and we get it, we hear that, and we work to do. But that's, again, beating the same drum over and over, but encouraging people to call if we know we're getting calls in an area and there's suspicious vehicles and property crime in an area, that's where we focus our resources. So without a call, I hear frequently people are chatting about something on Facebook that's happened, and lo and behold, it hasn't been reported to us. So if we don't know about it, we don't know where to direct our resources. We direct our resources where we get our calls.
I know it's been over a couple of years since St. Stephen had declared the state of emergency over homelessness. From the perspective of the RCMP, does it seem to be changing in any direction, or do you feel like it's still the same as it was back when that was declared?
If you look at the data, the calls for service, I think, are fairly consistent in terms of the types of calls and the location. I don't think we've really had a drop of any kind or an increase. I think it's fairly consistent.
Mm-hmm. Any message as we get into the final moments of the show that you'd like to leave the public with today? I know you'll be back in a couple months, and I really do love that and appreciate that. But anything you'd like to leave in people's minds for today's show?
No, again, it's I'd like to leave on a positive note, I guess. But I said it before, but our officers are doing a great job. I think proactive work and working on their files. And I know there's a frustration sometimes that you live on Milltown Boulevard, for example, and the cars are always speeding in front of my house, and we're aware of that, and we do what we can. But when you're calling and saying about that, the same person's having the issue on the 127 in Rolling Dam, and so it's we do what we can with the resources that we have, but that shouldn't prohibit somebody from calling. That we'll do our best to address those.
And Pierre, I hope that your colleagues are also showing you the fun sides of Charlotte County. You've taken him to Carmen's, to the Herring. Have you showed him the ropes?
Yes. I was lucky enough to enjoy a Carmen's breakfast. It was great. Yeah.
Well, I hope you will be back soon as well. And again, I appreciate both of your time so much. Thank you for coming in today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
My guests today have been Staff Sergeant Jeffrey Peters and Sergeant Pierre Ladouceur. I'm Vicki Hogarth. Thank you for watching Southwest Magazine.
Southwest Magazine is a news and public affairs production of CHCO Television.